of consequences. The
Ideas have consequences.
Didn't just happen.
Remember that.
They spoke out, they organized, and so forth.
This is the great one.
They do this better than we do because we're busy. But the one word that bothers me the most is when we say we. Mark, what can we do?
Oh, really?
And I say the same thing in response every time, James. No, the question isn't, Mark, what can we do? The question is, James and everybody else, what are you going to do?
Oh,
and you need to decide, everybody listening to this program needs to decide what role they're going to play. And you might think it's overwhelming, but even a little piece of your community, a little piece of your neighborhood, a little piece of the action. You have to decide if you're going to become an activist or not, because the truth is the vast majority of people listening to me are not.
Okay, so I hope you caught that, because that's the great one. And you know, it's always good to keep up on current events because, you know, denial is not an Egypt river you want to be on. Okay, and I'm thinking many are on a boat on that. Well, they think it's a river because they're just full on. They're just in denial big time. So if you caught the first part of that, he said we can't work together here. Not we. You decide what you're going to do. Now, because he's the great one and he has many looking up to him, I hope you heard what he said there, because he said you've got to decide if you're going to be an activist, and you need to figure that out. That's not us. That's not we. If you just take the two greatest commandments, say, love God, right, your neighbor as yourself, that would mean that we're all on the same team. So why would he say, no, we here, if he's trying to be the great one to lead? And he's talking about how the right is evil now, according to rumors or something. It's really weird how some of these people are saying these things about activism, and he was just saying that Trump shouldn't be in trouble for starting a insurrection because there wasn't violence. I sometimes wonder if there was like that Purim plan where I heard that, like, you know, Ivanka thought she was Esther, and that kind of like Haman had set up, they were just gonna like cut off a bunch of our heads real quick, and that was a planned insurrection or something, but something went wrong, or word cut out, or I don't know what exactly happened, but there was definitely a sword on those gold coins, and they really disappeared. So I don't really understand what's going on in the news, but denial, it's a fog that seems to be through the government and the red pill, blue pill great ones like Dennis Prager and all these. Don't they all say that they've got 30% more IQ than the rest of the earth, and that's why they're Ashkenazi and so special to us? Because ruling over us has always been just easy for them because, well, you know, bankers and all these things, they're only usually the smartest men. So we always need to trust in them, you see. And when they're so big in the media, well, we can just understand what they say when we say, you're the great one, Mark. Do tell, what should I do? Because the dollar's becoming the peso, and it's like our votes don't even matter anymore. That's exactly what the guy said before the great one started saying, there's no we here. Really? So as the dollar becomes the peso, Mr. Levin, are you still shilling to get some extra cash? Because, or do you do ads like Prager? Because Prager's like, wow, every 3 minutes now he's got to do a little pain commercial because he works out and then gets pain and needs to take a pill to feel normal. And that's what keeps him in shape. And he's got a great trainer. Really? It looks like you're hitting that buffet a little to me, and I don't know Mark Levin. I haven't looked that closely at him, but I'm just trying to wonder what he's saying now, because it's like, it seems like 3D chess just like went wrong or something, and like all I hear from all of these experts, from Dennis Prager to Mark Levin, it's almost like we went from Trump's 3D chess that, well, he did play with his 13-year-old son, which I wouldn't think that would be that complicated, but they were all talking about his 3D chess amazement, kind of like the Q movement, and then all of a sudden, it's like 3D chess was checkmated and we're all stuck. It sucks for you, but hey, pick your team, and if you're going to be an activist, you better decide. Well, that's what the Great One says, so it's almost like he's dividing and conquering. Isn't that an old trick? And, that makes me wonder, is Levin lined up with Dennis Prager's idea of like history and how Stalin did great things when anti-Semite laws were still first put in, and he killed 10 million Russians? And now Mark Levin wants to say something about he thinks he understands gender rights or something, but yet he's not really against these new gold coin related laws that now Biden pushes in the Equality Act that say if anybody has the wrong anti-Semite or LGBTQ attitude, well, you just get beheaded, that's all. It just really seems to me that we got a real zombie thing going on right now, because if all these things are really happening and people are still just in a daze, just saying it's all good, yeah, just don't get too much air because there's a plague, and we are 666 years since the Black Plague, and well, yeah, there is that mask-induced pneumonia, but I just try to understand what exactly is these great media people's plan. If they say we're not on the same team, but you need to figure out your plan. So if you're a little confused and in any kind of denial, it might be a good time to get on the same page with the coming king, like Santa Claus. So if the naughty list has always been true and karma's coming because if the blessed are the poor in spirit, well, then the rich in spirit are quite cursed. So depending on where you've been there, if you've been following the golden rule and just love God right, your neighbor as yourself, there shouldn't be that much to worry about, because that would be kind of like on the king's team and what he's all about, and he's coming again, and well, he'll be the judge, and he'll be at the Bema seat, and so, well, it should be pretty for us if we're on his team, I would think, but yet there's this great divide, and people just TMI or go deaf or blind whenever you talk about a king to come on earth as it is in heaven, his kingdom, where all these things have been getting ready and most of the world is already looking for him and praying for him, but yet we're a bunch of dead mummy brides just waiting to see what happens? Well, I don't know, but if I was that bridegroom looking for a bride with oil in her lamp, well, I would think that she'd be not appearing dead, especially from the sky where he comes. I mean, Anyway, so it's always good to just think simply and see what is that denial and if there's any in you, because I think that Antichrist everybody's trying to figure out right now might just start with this heart. See, if you are so into the princely things like doctrines of men that make sons of hell, well, you might have already had too much of that Kool-Aid. And well, if you know the original story about that Kool-Aid, it was from a church leader who claimed that he really knew God, and if you just drank this Kool-Aid with him, you could know him for reals. And well, a lot of people did that down south, and he actually had an organic farm, so he had some truth in him, but not in the Kool-Aid. And well, they went away all right in a death trap. And well, then it turned out, I guess the CIA was working with him. So maybe that's what's happening right now with the 503Cs that just keep making mummies and saying, God bless you, or saved by grace. And well, when the king comes and says, who are you? And you say, well, my pastor said, that's not gonna fit, because you see, my king might not give a rat's ass about your pastor, especially if he's denying my king. Yeah, ass might be better for me as far as that goes than him, because I tell you what, I wouldn't want to have that ass. I tell you what, because if you just trust your doctrines of men that make sons of hell, well, that's not a pretty place to be when denial is a thick fog, and not only can no one see it, but it's like deafening too, so like you can't even hear through it. And then when you just get so full of that beastly yeast, whatever it hypnotizes you with, well, it's kind of like that Kool-Aid where you get unreachable, and then it's like, yo, are you still there? Hello? And that's when I get like, wow, and you think I smoke too many cigarettes? Well, this might be part of the thing, because what I see, I can't believe there could be this many people this fogged up about a coming king, when if Santa Claus was just true all along and we followed with that idea, then we'd probably be a lot better off than we kept figuring out that was a lie, and then forgot about that naughty list and the nice list, and now, oh no, it's not so divine. Well, then you just might want to fix things and talk to your king. That's all you need to do, and start following the golden rule and get ready for the greatest reset, which is just love God right, your neighbor as yourself, and it should be all good for you. So just get off that boat. Like that old song, Michael, row your boat ashore. I think I saw two people on that train. Michael, row your boat ashore. Alleluia. That means come, Jesus, come. So that might be a good song to think about singing instead of that boat that you might be in that you think it's on the Nile. It's denial. That's not that river, and it's taking you to not a good place, because there could be a UFO or something coming for you. But just don't focus on that. Focus on the king and the kingdom to come on earth as it is in heaven, and just dwell on these things and pray to your king, and then that rowboat can come ashore from that not so good sea to be on, because you deny the king and then he might tell you, I don't know you, depart to that UFO. And then you'd be missing out for 1,000 years. So that's not where you want to go. Just go with the king. Just wait for him and he'll protect you when he comes, as you're not denying him. That's what it's all about. So have a great day, and I love y'all, and I'm praying for you that you wake up to the king.